Hi guys, Jamie Humphries here for Six String Alliance, and today we are looking at 5 alternate picking exercises. So today we're going to look at a short alternate picking workout, and I've put together a few exercises that I like to use on a regular basis that help me maintain control of the picking hand. Now, for those of you that are new to guitar, don't worry, this lesson isn't about speed. Although we're going to be looking at ways to develop speed later on, the core idea of this lesson was to help you to gain control of your picking hand so that you can pick through scale bass lines as well as arpeggios. We're also going to be looking at how to synchronize the left and the right hand. One of the biggest problems that I think people have with alternate picking is that they can get their picking hand up to quite a fast speed with fast tremolo picking, and then it's completely out of time with this hand. So synchronization is incredibly important. Another area that we're going to be looking at is inside and outside of the string picking, and that again is something that causes people a lot of problems. You know, when you get stuck between the strings, whether when you're picking you go over the top of the string to play with an up pick, or whether you're between the strings playing with a down pick. So there's a couple of different exercises here that help tackle that area, that slightly troublesome area of the alternate picking technique. We're also going to be looking at developing speed. I'm not the best alternate picker in the world. Alternate picking is my Achilles heel. I'm always been much more of a left hand player, very heavily into legato, but I'm also into sweep picking. And I still believe that, you know, to be able to sweep pick and have control of the picking hand, having a good core solid alternate picking technique is incredibly important. So as I kind of struggle with this technique, I thought it would be a little bit of fun to put this lesson together to show you some of the ideas and some of the things that I practice to help me maintain control, and have also helped me to gain more control over my picking hand. Okay, so let's kick off by taking a look at our first example. For the most part, all of these examples will be played at 90 beats per minute. A couple of them might be a little bit tricky at this tempo, but I didn't want to go too crazy. I don't want to make this an elitist lesson about how fast can you play. It's meant to be encouraging for people of all levels. You know, obviously if you find these tempos slow, then, you know, feel free to speed them up. But I think it's important that when you're developing a technique that you practice slowly so you get it clean and in time. So let's have a look at exercise number 1. And this is the classic 4-note per string chromatic exercise. So our first exercise is based around a chromatic finger permutation. Now, this isn't a chromatic scale. We're just playing chromatically on each string. So we're following 2 finger permutations. When we ascend through the exercise, we're playing 1, 2, 3, 4. And when we descend, we're going 4, 3, 2, 1. We're going to be working across all 6 strings. So we're going to start off with the down pick on the first note, up pick on the second note, down pick on the third note, and then up pick. Okay, so I'll play that. And that is the pattern that you're going to be continuing across all 6 strings. So let's do that slowly. Now, with that exercise there, it's really important to make sure that both hands are synchronized. So, you know, don't rush with the picking hand or don't rush with the fretting hand. Really try to get them both in time. Now, that's also a 16th note rhythm. So you are playing 4 notes on every beat. So when we get to the top here, we're going to move up a semitone and we're going to descend 4, 3, 2, 1. But make sure we keep that constant alternate picking. Now, I would continue that all the way up the neck. When I'm practicing this on my own, I either go all the way up as far as I can go, or I get up as far as the 13th fret, and then I descend back down through the exercise. But for the sake of this lesson, I've just gone as far as the 5th fret, and then I've descended. Now, some of you might be thinking to yourself, yeah, I've seen this exercise before. I've seen things like this a million times. Now, I think it's really important that when you get an exercise or you learn a new idea, that you develop the idea. Now, one of the things that I would definitely do with this exercise to push it further is start with an up pick. What you don't want to do is get into the habit of always crossing the strings with down pick. So I would take the same exercise and start up, down, up, down. So as you cross the strings, you're going to be crossing the strings, starting a new string with an up pick. Another thing that I would do with this exercise is to skip strings. So just to mix things up a bit and get you jumping over strings, get a little bit more control out of the picking hand, I would play from the E string to the D string, A string, G string, D string, B string, G string, E string. So put that together. And then I would descend, so I'd move up a semitone. I'd come down my 4, 3, 2, 1 permutation with the fretting hand. I play the E string, G string, B string, D string, G string, A string, D string, and E string. And then I would obviously continue that all the way up the neck or up to the 5th fret and back down, depending on how much stamina you have. But I would, make sure that you practice these slowly and cleanly. I would also practice that same idea of skipping strings starting on an up pick, so you'd get something like this. Another really cool variation on this exercise is to practice in groups of 3. So although you're playing 4 notes per string, count in groups of 3. So play a triplet rhythm. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, I find that's really good because you're starting on the next beat, not necessarily on a different string, but on a different finger. So once again, that's really good for synchronization and timing. Okay, so now let's have a look at exercise number 2. So now let's have a look at exercise number 2, and this is a deceptively tricky exercise to play correctly. First of all, it's a group of 5, so it's 5 notes to each beat, so you're playing 5 16th notes, so straight away you're playing an unusual note grouping. Also, due to the fact that you're playing 5 notes on each beat, each time you start this exercise or each time you start round the pattern, you're going to be starting in a different pick direction. Let's have a look at the lick first of all, or the exercise, should I say, first of all. We're playing 7 on the G, 5 on the G, 8 on the D, 7 on the D, 5 on the D. So here's the pattern. And we're going to play a down pick, up, down, up, down. But then when we restart the pattern, when we go back to the G string, this time we're starting on an up pick. Up, down, up, down, up. And then when we start again, we're going to be starting back on a down pick. So it deals with this inside and outside of the string picking technique, which is quite troublesome. But if you can tackle this, it really helps you to gain control of the picking hand. Okay, so now let's have a look at exercise number 3. So exercise number 3 is our first arpeggio exercise, and it's based around a chord arpeggio pattern. And I'd never thought of practicing chord arpeggios as a way of gaining control of my picking hand. And this is the kind of thing that you see bluegrass players using to play their rhythm parts, and they've got phenomenal picking technique. And also this is something that you see Steve Morse using quite a lot, the way that he plays chord arpeggios as part of his melody. So it's a really powerful exercise and a great way of gaining control of the picking hand. It has that inside and outside of the picking, inside and outside picking technique going on, which is, again, it's one of those kind of Achilles heel for most guitar players when they're using or learning and practicing alternate picking. So we're going to play an A minor chord, holding 7 on the D and 5 across the top 3 strings. We're going to play a down pick on the D, up pick on the G, down on the B, up on the G. So you've got this. And then we're going to jump over to the top E, play a down pick, up on the B, down on the G, and then up on the B string. And then we're going to drop down to an E chord, and we're playing 6 on the D, 4 on the G, 5 on the B, and 4 on the top E. And we're going to repeat the same picking pattern. As with our first exercise, you know, you can really expand on this idea. You can use different chord arpeggios. You don't have to change chords. You can just hold one chord. You can also work on different note groupings. You know, try playing triplets. So you get something like this. Okay, so now let's have a look at exercise number 4. So exercise number 4 is our second arpeggio exercise, and this is based around 2 of the more traditional arpeggio shapes rather than using a chord arpeggio. We're going to be using the arpeggio of A major, based around an E shape. We're going to be playing 5 on the bottom E, 9 on the bottom E, 7 on the A and the D, 6 on the G, 5 on the B, 5 on the E, and 9 on the top E. So we have this. And then we're going to descend through an E major arpeggio. So that's going to be 7 on the top E, 4 on the top E, 5 on the B, 4 on the G, 6 on the D, 7 on the A, 7 on the E, and then 4 on the bottom E. So you have this. So this exercise uses an 8th note triplet rhythm. We're basically playing each note 3 times. And the reason why I've chosen to use 8th note triplets for this, or a triplet rhythm for this, is so that we're not always starting each new string with a down pick. So you're going to get something like this. And then we descend. So put that together. Try playing it with 16th notes. 2, 3, 4. Okay, so now let's finish off by taking a look at exercise number 5. So exercise number 5 is an example of how I practice developing speed. And I like to practice in short bursts, to build up synchronization and to gradually build up the stamina of both my left and right hands. This exercise, I've actually put 2 exercises together. I would normally practice these 2 sections separately. The first one, well, both of them are based around an A minor scale. We're playing 5, 7, 8, 7 on the top E. And that's a 16th note pattern, so I'm playing down, up, down, up. And the other half of the exercise goes the other way, so I'm playing 8, 7, 5, 7. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how I build up speed, and I'm going to play through exercise number 5. I'm going to play through it 4 times at 4 different tempos. We're going to play at 120, 130, 140, and finally 150 BPM. Okay, so I hope you've enjoyed this little picking workout. Like I said, you can do a lot more with your alternate picking. Hopefully I've shown you some ideas of developing some of these exercises further. Obviously you can really push it with using major scale and arpeggio ideas. And I think ultimately one of the best ways for practicing picking is to learn some pieces of music that have some difficult alternate picking passages in them, ranging from country to rock, whatever genre you're into. I still practice Eugene's Trick Bag, the arpeggio section, and then trying to get that entire theme. That is so demanding. And another thing that I like to practice are the 2 different arpeggio themes from Too Many Notes by Steve Morse. So, obviously there's a multitude of fantastic solos out there. Look at some Paul Gilbert, look at some Yngwie Malmsteen, look at some Vinnie Moore. Click the link in the description where you can get the free tab and the Guitar Pro file, and I will look forward to seeing you here on the Six String Alliance YouTube channel for more videos very soon. Bye for now.